Hello, welcome to another Truthful vlog. It's been a little while in between this one and the last one. It was Christmas, and then unfortunately I got a pretty horrible virus, turned into viral pneumonia, so I've been off for a few weeks. The voice is still a bit croaky, as you'll hear, and I'll try not to cough in this particular video. So I got back to playing 3 days ago and I felt a little more human. And What Should We Do with a Drunken Sailor was something I had actually started before Christmas and played a couple of times through and struggled with, because it was the very first time I'd had to go across rows. So it's all done on this row here, which is the D row, and it plays all on there apart from a few notes which are on the G row, so it was a little bit awkward crossing from one to the other. It took some getting my head around. After sort of doing the very easy things all up and down one row, this was another just another dimension to play, but I had to tackle it because the reason being for going across the rows is so that you get the chords to match. You can't always play the same D chord if you're pulling and pushing it. It sounds wrong, it's technical. I don't get into the technicalities, I just play the stuff. If you want to learn more about that, go and see somebody who's an expert and they explain all that to you. Because this is my little vlog about learning to play it. The nice thing about it is when I actually did crack this and I suddenly realised I can play it, because the first few times I said, I'll never play it, I'll never get the hang of this is just too much, it's a bridge too far, it's ridiculous, I wanted to give up at the first hurdle. It's funny how you go with these things, it's a confidence, and then I'm not going to be beaten, so I just cracked on with it. And then suddenly it starts to flow and you just feel almost euphoric. It goes to your head, oh, I actually can play this, and obviously barring a few mistakes and hesitations. It really does feel good when you start to get the hang of things. So, and I find it quite addictive. Once I start playing it, I find it really hard to put down. It's only when I start to think, actually I'm getting tired, or my shoulders are aching, or whatever, my brain's burnt out. Sorry, excuse me. And yes, it's very hard to put down. I'm working on some other pieces at the same time, getting harder and harder. One is Walter Bulwer's Polka, and the other one is William Taylor's Tabletop Hornpipe, both involving an awful lot of going from one row to another, but actually really, really good fun. And because you're doing something that sounds more musical, you obviously are encouraged. You begin to sound like, you can play the Melodeon then, can you? Which I can't, but yes, I mean, I feel like I've turned a corner with it all, which is really good, despite having a couple of weeks away from it. Maybe I needed the rest. The key thing I found, well, there's a couple of key things that I will pass on having come through all this. One is, if you get the fingering absolutely right, you will find it quite natural to go from one row to another. Your fingers will be in the right place. If you've got the wrong fingers at any point, you're going to be fiddling around and you'll end up playing the wrong note on either of the rows that you're going to. So that is absolutely essential, to make sure you do have the right fingers on this right hand. I cheat a bit with the bass notes. I know there are purists who will say you've got to play with all your fingers on the left hand. I actually find that really, really hard. For the moment, I'm cheating and I'm using the same fingers and moving about on it. Maybe that's something I'll work on in the future, but to be honest, I'm still getting the hang of things like the bellows. Now, another thing I picked up as well, I watched myself, my husband was playing with a new camera, and he filmed me the other day playing this same tune, What Should We Do with a Drunken Sailor, and he immediately spotted that I was being overzealous with the bellows. And that was making hard work of it, and that's one of the reasons I was also running out of air. So I was literally, if I could sort of just demonstrate a little bit, I was getting this effect where I was going out and in, and it was just too much. And when you watch really good Melodeon players, they're barely, it's like this, and it's almost straight the whole time, and they seem to get an awful lot of air out of very little bellows. I still have this panic, you'll notice, between the first part And the second part of What Should We Do with a Drunken Sailor, I pulled my bellows out because I saw ahead and got a bit sort of, oh, I won't have enough or whatever. I think that's something I've just got to work on, and as you get to know the pieces, perhaps that will come more naturally. I'm sure all this does begin to fall into place the more you play, but it's still there. But I mean, that was definitely all this. Plus, it's hard work. You know, you're going to end up with aching arms and what have you. So it's not a very good idea. So that was a really, really good tip of his. And of course, seeing yourself on camera, you'll start to notice things that you're not doing properly. So actually, it's quite a good idea if you've got, you know, you can film yourself on anything, can't you, nowadays? You can film yourself on a phone even. Film yourself, see what you're doing, see if you're picking up some bad habits and try and nip them in the bud, especially when you're starting out, because you've got to get things right from the beginning. And as I said in I think the vlog before, not running before you can walk, keep things simple. Play the same piece over and over and over again till you're sick to death of it maybe, but at least get it under your belt and know that you've played it properly before you move on. I have one admission to make, and that was Silent Night, which I was learning to play at Christmas, and I still get stuck on the very ending of it, and then I just said, oh well, Christmas has been and gone, so I can forget that now and I can move on, and I shall play something different, because I'm not in the mood for Christmas. My Christmas was a write-off. I might celebrate Christmas later in the year and have a turkey dinner and all the things I missed out on. Sympathy would be lovely. So yeah, really, really good. I can't think of any more tips particularly on this one. I hope that if any of you have watched any of this, you've actually picked up a Melodeon that might have been sitting neglected in your home, or you might even be encouraged to go and get one. And I thoroughly recommend it. It is quite absorbing and a lovely hobby, if nothing else. Whether you get to ever play out or something, it's almost irrelevant. It's the sheer satisfaction of learning an instrument. There's loads and loads of people out there giving proper lessons, and then there's me, who will just say to you, you know, just I'm an encourager. Keep going. Pick that Melodeon up. Keep playing it. And be encouraged, because you know, if I'm learning later in life and you're younger, if you're anything younger than me, blimey, you'll pick this up as easy as anything, and you'll have years and years of enjoyment out of it. So I hope you enjoyed this. Here's to a healthy and happy 2017 to everybody, and I wish you all well, and see you on my next vlog with something more complicated, I think. Okay, thanks very much. Bye.